the Allston Brighton District City Councilor. Today is Tuesday, May 24th, and we're here with the good folks from the Youth Engagement and Employment Department as part of the Youth Fund, or the former Youth Fund. I'd like to remind folks that this is a public hearing and is being broadcast and recorded on both RCN Channel 82 and Comcast Channel 8. I'd ask folks in the chamber to silence your electronic devices, and at the conclusion of the hearing, we will take public testimony. We have a sign-in sheet to my left at the front door where we ask that you state your name, affiliation, and residence, and please limit your comments to a few minutes to ensure all comments and concerns can be heard. We've introduced a new way to testify remotely. We'll take up to 10 people for online testimony via Google Hangouts at each hearing after in-person testimony. The link to sign up for online testimony is boston.gov/citycouncil/google.asp. Today we're here regarding dockets 0525 through 0527, 0537, and 0543. Orders for the fiscal year 17 operating budget, including annual appropriation and tax order, annual appropriation for the school department, appropriation for other post-employment benefits, appropriation for certain park improvements, and appropriation for certain bridge projects. Also dockets 0528 through 0532, 0534 through 0536, and 0538 through 0542. Orders for the fiscal year 17 capital budget, including loan orders, appropriations amending previous loan orders, and lease and purchase agreements. I'd like to introduce my colleagues who've joined me. To my left, Councilor Sal Lamartina from East Boston, and to my right, from Grove Hall, District City Councilor Tito Jackson, and to my far right, District City Councilor Andrea Campbell. Let me start by saying thank you, Sherry, for all your work. We understand that you are moving on to a new position and will be leaving us shortly after a great run with Boston Community Centers and the Youth Fund and the Youth Engagement and Employment Department. I want to thank you for all your great work over the years, working with us, the City Council, working to make sure that our youth have every opportunity to gain employment during those summer months that are so important for so many of our kids to be engaged in community, to be engaged in making a little extra money, and learning also from the great programs that you place them in. So just wanted to start by thanking you and congratulating you and wishing you all the best from us to you. Thank you.
Councilor Siomo, thank you so much. It has honestly been a pleasure to serve, and I've done so for nearly 15 years, and I'm incredibly proud of all of that I've gained from the city of Boston and will continue to be a partner to the city.
So you started as a youth worker
That
at
is
12,
absolutely right. That is absolutely right. But thank you to Councilor Siomo and to the members of the Boston City Council for having us here today to present our FY17 budget. I'm incredibly proud of our division, and we have been busy making changes over the last year to better serve youth and to improve the services that we provide to young people, to make sure that young people have a voice and that we are able to connect young people and families to resources across the city. It was under Mayor Walsh's leadership that our division underwent a major reorganization 2 years ago, bringing the Mayor's Youth Council, the Boston Youth Fund, and the Mayor's Youth Line under one roof to create a one-stop shop for young people. And I'm excited and proud to say that we're making continuous improvements on those services that we offer. Young people can go to one place now for employment services and citywide job opportunities, to find out about free things to do, sign up for career development workshops, and learn about civic engagement opportunities. We've been growing this model and have been streamlining our services with young people at the forefront to shape our delivery of resources. The City of Boston's Success Link employment program continues to offer after-school and summer employment opportunities. In January of of 2016, BCYF-YEE launched a redesigned Success Link after receiving the Living Cities grant and working with the Metropolitan Area Planning Council, or MAPC. Our new system allows young registrants to make an online profile that can be updated and will follow them through every year of eligible employment. So the days of registering every year for Success Link are over, and that's a direct piece of feedback that we received from community. The redesigned employment system also allows an improved lottery placement process that includes a focus on not only neighborhood balance, but also interest identified by our participants' application. MAPC has developed an algorithm to assist with placement efficiency that drastically reduces staff burden, creating the opportunity for our staff to focus more energy on serving those connected to our employment program and those seeking employment through other agencies. Moving forward, we are incredibly excited to continue to develop this platform so that we can see online payroll submission and improve communication for all of our partners. A few months ago, I had the pleasure of traveling to the White House to present our new and improved model for youth engagement, and we are excited to offer help to other cities across the nation as they think through innovative strategies for youth employment that are built around community needs and community feedback. As I mentioned before, the main factor in being able to redesign Success Link was indeed community feedback that we received not only through My Brother's Keeper, but through our participatory budgeting initiatives as well. As many of you know, earning money is a serious priority for the participants in our employment program, but we aim to ensure that individuals who accept a position at one of our 200 partner sites have the opportunity to gain meaningful employment, and we do that through reinforcing skills and workforce development opportunities. Every participant in our employment program goes through at least 10 hours of professional and career development. Those funded through our YouthWorks grant go through 15 hours of a Signal Success curriculum. The Summer and School Year Jobs program would not be successful without the continued support and partnership of our community-based organizations. These organizations offer a wide range of job placement opportunities. Employees placed at our nonprofits do community work through childcare, sports and recreation, academic achievement. Other sites offer a focus on environmental and conservation initiatives, arts and culture, and we even have young people placed in government positions. Partnerships with other city departments have also played an important role by supporting the expansion of our Community Dream Team, which is a Corey-friendly workforce and leadership development program for young people between the ages of 18 and 24. City employees have been vital in the success of this program, which is now in its second year, by serving as career coaches. And we've also seen city departments serve as work sites. And this allows our employees to contribute to community outreach projects all over the city of Boston and serve all of Boston's residents. Additionally, many of our partners joined us for this year's 4th annual Teen Job Fair at the BCYF Tobin Community Center. We saw over 1,000 young people pre-register to attend and over 700 folks in attendance that day. They met potential employers, they registered with Success Link, and they participated in career development workshops. Mayor Walsh has been committed to providing young people with employment opportunities. It is because of the mayor's commitment that we're able to sustain our summer and school year jobs numbers. With the partnership of ABCD and the Private Industry Council, we hope to see as many young people in Boston take advantage of employment opportunities as possible. Another of Mayor Walsh's commitments has been to provide young people in Boston with a real voice in government. The Mayor's Youth Council has been hard at work engaging young people across the city and providing youth voice in government through something that we think is revolutionary called Youth Lead the Change, which is the nation's first ever youth-focused participatory budgeting effort. This democratic process allows young people between the ages of 12 and 25 to decide how $1 million of our capital budget is spent. Since the beginning of Youth Lead the Change, young people across the city of Boston have generated over 2,700 ideas, and we are now voting in our 3rd cycle presently. To date, we've seen 11 capital projects funded through this process, and we've also seen the focus of these projects really be around park renovations with a focus on accessibility, increased Wi-Fi access, and even delivery of technology to Boston Public Schools. To date, we have had more young people engaged through Youth Lead the Change and our other initiatives than ever before, and we're excited to extend participatory budgeting into its 4th year. And as we think about Youth Lead the Change and participatory budgeting, we're excited to experiment with other exercises in democracy like participatory advocacy, participatory policymaking, and even participatory program design. The Mayor's Youth Council's commitment to engaging youth has been remarkable. Not only are young reps leading Youth Lead the Change along with support from 25 other community-serving organizations, but they are ensuring that they represent those that live around them through outreach activities in every neighborhood and through subcommittee work that engages and involves departments throughout the city of Boston. The work at BCYF's Division of Youth Engagement and Employment would not be possible without the many partnerships of city departments, including BPS, BPD, Parks, the Office of Budget Management, and the Boston Public Library, to name a few. And I have to, again, really think about the external community-based agencies, large and small, that support us and collaborate with us. And maybe most importantly, our work would not be possible without the young people that are involved in every aspect of what our division does, from planning to execution. And these individuals are the ones that are essential to our ability to relate to, engage with, and advocate for our constituency. We used to say that it was our job to cultivate future leaders, but I think that we have really shifted from that thinking. Young people all around us are proving that with the right supports, opportunities, and encouragement, that young people have the ability to lead with us today. Thank you all for the work that you do to support our city's youth. I appreciate the opportunity again to present our FY17 budget, and then please just allow me to quickly introduce our Mayor's Youth Council Manager, Mr. Francesco Tenna, and I think you guys have also had a chance to speak a little bit to Mr. Michael Soprizio, our Deputy Commissioner of Admin and Finance from Boston Centers for Youth and Families. We are here to answer any questions that you may have. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sherry. So this is pretty straightforward. You have a $510,000 increase in the line for youth jobs. Could you just walk us through, how many jobs it funds and where that increase is going?
Absolutely. We see about 3,300 youth employment positions funded through this opportunity, as well as a school year program with about 500 to 600 positions that goes from December until about April. And we're seeing this increase, just as a reminder, minimum wage has gone up from $9 to $10. So we're seeing an increase there. And then keeping in mind that minimum wage will increase again in January of 2017 to $11. So that increase that you see is to reflect our commitment to being able to employ the same amount of young people.
Great. I am encouraged to hear about the reform with Success Link, which replaced the Hope Line, I'm assuming, right?
Yes.
And the fact that people don't have to re-register, I think, is huge. I mean, and because we call you after the deadline and they say, oh, geez, I missed the deadline. And I mean, we all get those calls and we want to help every single parent and child and anybody seeking employment. How are we doing with the state contribution in this space?
We saw an increase in state funding as well, and again, that more or less reflects the increase in minimum wage.
Oh, great.
So we're seeing more or less the ability to hire the same amount of young people funded through what is called the Youth Works Grant managed by Commonwealth Corporation.
And I applaud the efforts with the career development piece. I mean, when you have these kids, have their attention, it's a great opportunity, especially through the summer months, to make sure they improve other skills, right, to get jobs. Absolutely. Aside from summer employment. Can you describe some of those classes or however you would describe those skills that you're imparting?
Absolutely. So when a nonprofit organization applies for partnership with the Success Link program, they have to outline a minimum of a 10-hour of career development plan for their youth employees. That includes things from resume writing, that includes the ability to present professionally, conflict resolution. We also see financial literacy workshops, resume building I mentioned before, but also budgeting specifically. And we also are emerging into the space of social entrepreneurship, where individuals are starting to really think about projects or elements that they'd like to see beyond the employment program and really thinking about next steps after they finish the employment program.
Right. I'm glad to hear about the financial literacy too. There's a program, I think, through, I forget the organization, but where they're actually matching kids with funds to build credit and
It's through the Office of Workforce Development.
Thank
It's a
you.
credit building initiative, which we help to spread and connect people
That's
to.
right. And I serve on the Jobs Trust, so
That's awesome.
I'm really excited about that new program and initiative. Let me now recognize my good colleague, Councilor Sal Lamatina.
Thank you. Sherry, thank you for your work. I can't believe you've been with us for 15 years. He's a little kid. Again, so we didn't have the Hope line this year. So I had to go online to sign up. How many kids sign up this year for the summer job?
We saw just under 8,000. I think the exact number is 7,994 individuals registered through our online portal. Those that had challenges with the online portal were able to call our office and be walked through, or have one of the members of my team actually register for them or assist them with that process.
Okay. So 8,000 youth are looking for jobs for the summer. And we have, what, 3,200 jobs?
Correct.
3,200 jobs. That's a lot of kids without jobs.
Well, historically, I think it's important to acknowledge that when we connect people to employment opportunities, we burn through about 80% of that list. We see about 7,000 or 8,000 individuals registered for employment. And when we go through the matching portion of this, some individuals' plans change or whatever the case may be, but we actually go through, like I said, nearly every year, 80% of that list connecting individuals to employment. And then those that we aren't able to hire directly, we work with our partner agencies to make sure that they have some opportunity, whether it's employment related or a volunteer opportunity.
Great. And during the winter months, how many kids do we employ?
We see
Through your
about
program?
between 500 and 600 individuals employed through our school year program.
That's a very important program. When I was a kid, we had East Boston APAC, and so I had a summer job and a winter job, which was very helpful. Financial literacy, I think, thank you for doing that. I wish we did that. We had that when I was a kid. But I think that's a good thing. Teaching the kids banking and how to save money, I think, is very important. I really don't have a lot of questions. I think you guys are doing a great job. I wish we had more money for you, because there's a lot of kids that still need jobs. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Council.
Thank you. Councilor Jackson.
Thank you very much. And Sherry, we will be passing a resolution at the City Council to inform the TSA that you are not allowed to travel. We will be proposing that as a late file tomorrow.
Always the train.
And I think I have the support of my fellow councilors on that. No, you exemplify really what it means to invest in young people. To see, we were both in the same program at different times in the Mayor's Youth Council, and to know that you were able to go through that program and come and work for Mayor Menino and now Mayor Walsh really exemplifies why we do this work. And how amazing and fantastic you are, and that you are standing up other young people. That really means a whole lot, and we will definitely miss you, your example, and what you've added to the city of Boston. Those folks on the West Coast are very lucky to have you. So I just wanted to say that on the record. And also, I think the interesting part about the participatory budgeting process is that it takes young people serious. And young people know what's going on. They are able to figure out, as most of us had to figure out when we got here, that $1 million, if it's ours in our bank account, is actually a lot of money. $1 million for a city and to help 650,000 people, it's actually not that much money. And when you have to build stuff, it's actually even less money. So I actually got to attend the first vote for participatory budgeting, and that was really enlightening. Will that be another $1 million this year
That is
for capital?
correct.
Okay. And congratulations on the Success Link migration. Is it app based also?
So it's mobile friendly, right?
Okay.
So there's not an app specifically for it, but you can access it from a mobile phone.
That's awesome. And then you said we have 8,000 folks who signed up, 3,300 who we sponsor.
Correct.
How much is the state how many people did the state sponsor last year?
So when we quote that 3,300 number, that's all of the positions that we're able to hire all together. So that includes funding from the state, which ends up being about 650 positions.
Yeah, wow. And I remember when I was young, you might have even been running one of the programs. We had red shirts, and everyone got a job. And I would say, I would like to see a budget where I know there are advocates who push for 10,000 jobs for young people. And I would just simply say that's a proactive approach to public safety. And it's not a one-to-one. If people don't, that doesn't definitely mean their folks are going to go and definitely do other things, but they will do something else. Sure. And we know that when they're working, they're able to earn for themselves, that they can actually get experience and also do some really great things. The other aspect of this is that the data shows the earlier that you work, the less often that you are unemployed throughout the course of your lifetime. So I would love to see a budget that added another $10 million for you guys to actually get to that 8,000 number. So you're saying 3,300, there's 8,000. So I can do the math. So there's 5,700 young people who go without having a job.
And I wouldn't say 5,700 go without having a job. We see ABC, there's a real overlap between our registrants and those hired by ABCD. We see a real overlap between our registrants and those working in PIC programming. So I think in order to get a full picture of the employment demand, we would have to do a serious study to get a sense of that.
So how many does ABCD fund?
ABCD funds somewhere around 2,000, and to get more accurate numbers, we would have to follow up with you on that.
Okay.
And then we're seeing also over 3,000 that come from the Private Industry Council as well.
Okay. So that's 5,000, and that's 8,800.
Yep.
In
And then
total.
we also have the John Hancock Summer Scholars and other programs. So last year we had over 10,000 young people employed across the city.
But your program, what are the ages of your program?
Our program serves ages 15 to 18, and we also have smaller pilot programs. It's in our second year now that hires individuals from 18 to 24 that are formally court involved, and we like to describe it as Corey friendly.
And I would also note, the change has actually occurred. And again, this is budget related. That it used to be 14 to 18.
Correct.
And I'm glad to hear that you actually moved back up to 18 because it was actually a kind of 15 to 17 for a while.
Yep.
Because the frustration was for many folks, once you get a job, you need a job actually more, and that many young people, especially during the economic downturn, were sometimes the only ones bringing money home for their family. And so, I would really love to see more in your budget versus some of the other budgets that are reactionary, and you guys are proactive in terms of how things happen. I guess I'd love to hear about the Corey-friendly component that you just spoke about. What does that look like?
Sure. It's called the Community Dream Team. This year, we're going to see about 5 teams of young people from all different walks of life. But as I said, we have a focus on those that are Corey friendly. So we receive a lot of referrals from the Street Worker Program, and they get connected to individuals that are in city departments. So we saw a team in the Environment Division or the Environment Department last year, and a few others. And they have the ability to work on a specific project over the course of the summer. Once the summer is completed, they have the opportunity to apply for an apprenticeship program that goes throughout the duration of the school year. So it's really a 10-month employment opportunity where they get to work in a city department and work on various projects throughout.
And the percentage of court-involved youth that you deal with, number and percentage, do you have any feel for that?
We would see at least 50% that have been court involved at some point throughout the duration of the program. But if you wanted more concrete numbers, we could get back to you on that.
That would be great. And then this financial literacy or financial capability curriculum, what does that entail?
Sure. So part of the Signal Success requirement is that we do a various and sundry things, right? That we have a certain number of various individuals from populations included in the program, but also that we do a signal success curriculum. And there's a mandatory element of that that's really around financial literacy and financial capability, so that we absolutely include that element for those funded by those funds. Everyone that's in the Community Dream Team program goes through a financial capability curriculum as well.
Okay, dope. I will turn it back over. I would just say, again, I would like to see, we were able to push really, really hard last year, and sadly, we only got 200 additional jobs. There is a need, as we know, for, I believe, another 5,000 young people who go without jobs on an annual basis, and I would like to see that funded. And again, this is a proactive approach to funding. If we give, and then we had this conversation with BCYF, if we fund our young people, then we don't have many of the other issues that we may have that actually end people up getting a Corey. When I was a kid, literally everyone who wanted a red shirt job actually got a job, and I know young people are saying that they want jobs that are going to give them additional skill sets. Which I understand also, but I think the availability, I also think this component around 14 to 19-year-olds. Last night we had a special education as well as ELL workshop, and that range, depending on when your birthday is, that's crazy that you and I may not get a job based on my birthday being one date versus another person's birthday being another date. And so again, the funding needs to be trued up so we can have an additional 5,000 jobs. And I believe last year it cost $9.6 million. Whatever that would account for this year, I would love to see, as well as that age range being expanded. And so that's what I will continue to advocate for. I do want to, again, compliment your work and the work that you've done over the course of many years with the City of Boston, and you will be missed. Thank you so much, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Campbell.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Sherry, you rock. You and your team, thank you for being here. This is the first I was hearing about your departure, so of course I will ask you more details offline, but I wish you the utmost success in your new endeavors.
Thank you.
I was sworn in January, and one of the first hearings I called for was looking at funding for youth development programming, and we're continuing to push that conversation, looking at where can we pull the money from, and if there's a fee for this grant and a fee for that, maybe taking a second look, but you were very active in our conversations, brought a lot of insight and things to think about, so thank you. I don't have a lot of questions because I agree with Councilor LaMartina that, maybe you guys should actually probably have more money. Youth employment is key. I have 5 full-time employees, and they were all equal members of my team, and the youngest is 19 years old. The one after that is 22, and all that was very intentional. And I think it's not just important to engage young people in the conversation. It's important that we hire them. It's important that we give them meaningful experiences. So Sean, who is my 19-year-old, goes to the ZBA on my behalf. I don't need to go with him. He goes to the licensing board. He goes to so many other places and is a true representative of me. And I feel proud every day to have such a young team because I believe in the power of young people. I just had a couple of questions. One has to do with MAPC, which is a great organization, and it's great to hear that they're working with you. Is this through a grant, or are you paying them? How is that working with them?
So, Council, let me just say thank you not only for your example, but for your advocacy. And as it relates to MAPC, the City of Boston won the Living Cities grant,
Got it.
and we are working with MAPC to execute that grant, which is around redesigning and improving our employment program and the technology to support our employment program.
And my other question has to do with Youth Lead the Change. So one of the things I've been doing is going around to all my schools, not just in District 4, but those just outside, to meet with all these fabulous young people. And I've met students at charter schools, public schools, parochial schools who are involved in that council and the participatory budget process. I'd love to just learn a little bit more about how many young people are involved, what that looks like, how they apply, how long do they stay on, that kind of thing.
Let me just reintroduce Mr. Francesco Tenna, the Mayor's Youth Council Manager that has been leading this process.
And thank you for all you do. I've heard great things.
Thank you so much for your questions. So for the Mayor's Youth Council is the organization of 85 teenagers who advise Mayor Walsh on policies, programming, and run the process we call Youth Lead the Change. Youth Lead the Change is a little larger than just the Mayor's Youth Council. In addition to those 85 teenagers, we also convene about between 18 and 23 youth organizations. They send one staff member and 2 youth reps to represent their organizations at steering committee meetings. And so these are the meetings where we write the rules, where young people tell us what our outreach targets should be, how we should be collecting ideas, where we should be collecting ideas, how we should be voting, and where we should be voting, where we should be holding voting locations. So there's a few ways to get onto the Youth Council. One is through our application process. We actually recently had our deadline for the Mayor's Youth Council application on Friday. And right now what we're doing is we're in the middle of identifying where our gaps in applications are and doing some more targeted outreach to do that. And then young people operate on a yearly term. And so we usually start meetings at the end of July and have between 3 and 4 meetings a month until June. And then we have our application process, which usually starts up around April and ends in July when we start the new council. And so everyone applies every year. It's open to all high school age young people who live in Boston.
High school age, living in Boston.
Right, so that, and the reason we say high school age is because we don't want to create a barrier for anyone who may have dropped out of high school or is disconnected.
Right. I will say, and just sort of closing, we obviously don't have that on the council side, but thinking more creatively about how the council can tap into what the mayor's doing. I think often one of the complaints we hear from residents is just a lack of coordination between what we're doing on the council side, what's happening on the city side. Youth Lead the Change, the mayor's, that's all incredible work. And I think an opportunity for us to probably engage more of the young people in a more creative way. So I'd love to stay in communication about how that might work, pulling from such a great idea to pull this legislative body in. Because I think it's often that we do a lot of things and people have no idea what we're doing. And typically the biggest question I get when I go into schools talking to young people is, who are you? What do you do? What does the council do? And reminding them all the incredible things that we do right here in this body, including the budget process and stuff like that. So I look forward to continuing the conversation.
Counselor, I think that's a really good point. And when we did our evaluation of Youth Lead the Change in year 1, outreach was one of the things that we interviewed young people about. And they said, I wish more young people knew that this was a process in Boston. And some of the evaluation data, while we knew young people would love to be in charge of $1 million, one of the other benefits that they highlighted to us that we would have never cut was more than coming to the meetings. You know, I learned how the city works. It's really, really cool. But I also got to meet young people from across the city who care about the same things I do. So I think in a lot of ways, being able to propagate that positive peer network is another huge benefit outside of just a civic engagement component of what we're doing. And since then, we've been able to leverage that piece of data to reshape how we do outreach, how we host voting locations. We used to have idea collection assemblies that we would invite people to. And since then, we flipped the script and had more mobile idea collection assemblies where we would go to where young people already are. We collected about 500 ideas in the first year and 1,500 votes. Since then, cumulatively in the third process, we've had over 2,700 ideas submitted. And this year alone, we've already, even though we're in the middle of our voting cycle, we've broken last year's record and have about 3,500 votes. And so when we listen to young people, when we talk about how we can get young people to know about the processes and get motivated about the processes, it really stems from listening to them and making sure that we're hearing them and implementing what they're saying in a really meaningful way.
And I would add, giving them the credit.
Absolutely.
We often get into these spaces, we develop awesome policies, and we have to remind ourselves some of the best policies come from our residents and come from young people.
Absolutely.
And so it validates just how incredible they are. Thank you for all that you do. Michael, thank you for sticking around all day.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Counselor. I don't know if there's anyone here that would like to testify. If you do, please come down, state your name, address for the record. Hey, Excuse me. Are you here to testify? If you're here to testify, please sign in. If you're not, you could sit down. If you're going to chant, you have to leave. Why are you here?